I wonder whether the Leader of the House is aware that minimum pricing for alcohol is being introduced into Scotland today. And that has resulted in a bottle of Sainsbury's Basics London gin being increased from £10.50 to £13.13, a bottle of Asda Rich Ripe Red Wine from £3.19 up to £4.88, and 18 cans of Tennent's Lager, which cost £12 at Asda, will be increased to £15.84. These are significant increases by percentage. And does she not agree with me that this is going to impact disproportionately upon people with low incomes? And as I know she's concerned about the impact of austerity upon people, is this the right time to be adding extra burdens on them when one of the ways in which they try to alleviate austerity is to have a moderate drink? It's not going to affect the people who've got serious alcohol problems very much, but it is going to affect the overwhelming majority of people who drink responsibly.
First of all, in his remarks about the First Minister, which I think were particularly ill-judged, the First Minister is, of course, on an extremely important mission to Doha, coming in on the first Qatar Airlines flight to Cardiff Airport, yes, exactly. Something which we're all immensely proud of. And Llywelyn, I feel obliged to say at this point that when I returned to Wales as part of my professional career in 1993, the first sad task I was given was to work on the compelled privatisation of Cardiff Airport from the public sector because it was making such an enormous amount of money. It was an embarrassment to the then government. And I'm delighted to say that this Labour government has been able to put it back into the public sector, where, of course, it's gone from the very poor performance it had in the private sector to a sterling performance in the public sector. So I'm grateful to the leader of UKIP for giving me that opportunity to say. In terms of minimum pricing for alcohol, I know that he doesn't agree with the policy, but large numbers of people die as a result of alcoholic poisoning, and that's something that this party takes very seriously indeed.
Well, I think what the Leader of the House is admitting is that it's a sledgehammer to miss a nut, because the vast majority of people are going to be affected in their pockets, but it's not going to make any difference to their health. At the moment, 76% of the price of a bottle of whisky is taken in excise duties and VAT. Of course, this is not a tax which is proposed to minimum price of alcohol, so the extra profit, if any, which is made will go into the pockets of the supermarkets. So there won't be a fund from which public health benefits could be spread by government policy. Surely a much better way of tackling this problem is to target the problem drinkers themselves rather than to impose burdens upon people who don't have a problem.
Well, of course, the minimum alcohol pricing policy isn't the only policy that we have in place to assist people who suffer from alcohol abuse and substance misuse problems. The Leader of UKIP is quite right to say that it can be an issue with austerity, that people attempt self-medication and so on, but we're very wedded to making sure that those people have the correct support that they need to be able to stop the abuse that they suffer. And we know from the research that minimum alcohol pricing is one of the pieces of armoury in that kit.
But of course, alcoholism or alcohol dependency isn't the only public health problem that exists in Wales. There's a significant problem with obesity, there's a significant problem with cardiovascular disease, and the Public Health Wales Observatory has recently published figures which show that the risk factors for heart disease are physical activity 71%, unhealthy eating 67%, alcohol, perhaps surprisingly, only 43%, and being a current smoker, even more surprising, only 23%. So where is this policy of minimum pricing of alcohol going? If the state has arrogated to itself the power to try to alter people's behaviour in their private lives by using the tax system or a variant upon it, why shouldn't we introduce a tax on food, a tax on salt, or any other of the known factors which might be a cause of deterioration in individuals' health?
Well, of course, this party has a very different idea of the state's role in people's lives than UKIP does. I'm not entirely certain that it's consistent in UKIP. But, of course, we have a number of things at our disposal which the government does indeed do. So we have done very large numbers of things in public health. So, for example, adult smoking prevalence rates fell to 19%, ahead of our 20% target in 2016. Smoking amongst young people is at its lowest level, with 7% of boys and 9% of girls aged 15 to 16 smoking regularly, compared to 9 and 14 in 2009-10. 425,000 men and women are routinely screened in Wales for breast, cervical and bowel cancer. These are state interventions in people's lives, but they are very welcome and they contribute hugely to public health agendas here in Wales, of which we're very proud.